All right, y'all, we finna check out another video from Hockey Psychology. It's called "Have We Been Lied To About Connor Bedard?" I watched some of Connor Bedard highlights. I haven't really watched his highlights in a little minute, so I'm trying to get caught up into what's really going on with his with his career right now. A lot of these guys, I haven't really kept up with their careers. Hockey Psychology, he breaks down a lot of this stuff. I mainly watch the hockey fights, but I'm trying to get more in depth as far as their careers. And he's talked about the stats and them getting traded and different stuff like that. So I'm trying to really get more acquainted on that side of hockey. So he definitely knows what he's talking about. From what y'all told me on TikTok, I asked him, like, is he giving his opinion on a lot of these videos, or is he speaking facts? Y'all say he's speaking facts, so y'all say he knows what he's talking about. So we're gonna check out this video about Connor Bedard and see what's going on. If y'all haven't seen the harsh truth about Mitch Marner, he was traded to Las Vegas. So hopefully he'd be a better fit with them. I'm definitely gonna check out his first game with Las Vegas for sure, though. So let's get into it.
How do you know when you're witnessing the rise of a once-in-a-generation talent? Not just someone who's elite, but the kind of player destined to leave a permanent mark on the game. Usually, the signs are all there. A name every scout knows at just the age of 13. Throw in some viral highlight reels, record-breaking stats in junior, and international success, all while being a teenager, and you've got yourself the recipe for what looks like the NHL's next generational superstar. Coming into the league, Connor Bedard looked like he fit this criteria. The only problem is, he's on one of the worst hockey teams we've seen in years, and it's already taken its toll. Despite being the most anticipated #1 pick since Connor McDavid, some fans still aren't sold. So is Connor Bedard truly the future face of the league? Or have we all been wrong about his potential since day one? Well, let's take a deeper look. After last season, it seems like the Connor Bedard hype has somewhat died down. After what was an electric rookie year that saw him take home the Calder Trophy, putting up 61 points in 68 games, the 19-year-old went through a brutal sophomore season. Statistically, his production was just fine. It did dip a bit with 67 points in 82 games, but the Blackhawks as a whole...
So is he not that dude no more?
Year. And what seemed to feel like a regression as a franchise, the spotlight and scrutiny...
Is it him or is it his team?
And it took a toll. Combine that with the surface stats of a career -80, a dip in overall production, and under 40% in the faceoff dot, the tune around Bedard being a generational player has quickly shifted, especially when being compared to his younger countryman in Macklin Celebrini. But stats only tell a fraction of the story with a player like Connor Bedard. For Bedard, it's clear there's a good and bad heading into next season. Let's start with the good. When Bedard broke into the NHL, there were a lot of concerns about his height and size, but what came abundantly clear when
he's 5'8", right?
Were two things. First was that absurd release, and second was his off-puck ability in the O-zone to get himself in the right spots at the right time to negate any size disadvantage that he may have. The release has been the #1 skill that has caught the eyes of fans since his days in junior. His patented toe drag release is what he's known for, and in the NHL, only the very best shooters can consistently beat the goalies when one-on-one, mano-a-mano, no screen. And from a technique standpoint, Bedard's release is incredibly difficult to track both as a goalie and defenseman. Now, shooting has certainly evolved over the years between technology with sticks, speed of the game, and overall innovation to which how a player releases a shot. A couple of years ago in around 2016, we saw the toe drag release iteration catch fire with Austin Matthews. Then Bedard came along and arguably took it to a whole other level with his ability to use it in almost every shooting situation. His mechanics are incredible, and it starts with his top hand. Generating power in a shot requires flexing the stick. This is done by pushing outwards with the top hand while applying pressure to the shaft of the stick with the bottom hand to create almost this push-pull mechanic. With Bedard, during the load-up, he supinates that top wrist to almost a 90-degree angle. Not only does this give him more leverage to flex the stick, but it also allows him to pull pucks in tight towards his body to change the angle and shoot in pretty much any scenario. The strength and torque of that top hand allows him to separate his lower and upper body on the release as well. Because he can generate so much power with the top hand positioning and flexion, it allows him to shoot in unconventional and awkward scenarios that almost every other shooter in the world would struggle with.
Okay.
His off-season session went viral recently because he nonchalantly lasered one by the goalie with this toe drag release. Any
So as a shorter player
into a player's feet is almost
this is what you have to do?
to shoot with that kind of power and precision. But the power he generates with his upper body compensates for any awkward puck positioning, whether his toes are pointed in the corner or his momentum is going the complete opposite.
So is this beneficial for shorter players in hockey? Because a lot of these guys are tall, right? Is it best to be tall in hockey like the NBA? Like the NBA, you can be in the NBA as a shorter guard, but ideally you would want to be taller. So is hockey the same way? Like, to where football you don't have to be tall, but does hockey you have to be tall, or is this something that you don't really have to necessarily be tall? Like most hockey players, I would think is tall, right? Like the NBA, even though I would think NBA players is taller than hockey players, but hockey players, I feel like they range between like 6 foot to 6'7", because there's no 7-footer hockey players like it is in the NBA, I would assume.
The way the top half of his body can still generate an enormous amount of power, which often catches goalies completely by surprise. It's a combination of balance, flexibility, and raw strength. And if you've seen the guy's forearms, you can see where all that power comes
damn.
from.
Yeah.
Next is his off-puck
He cut up.
moves. And that's important because that wicker release means jack shit if Bedard isn't putting himself in the right areas to touch them. Scorer, the prerequisite to greatness is not only knowing how to find the soft spots and coverages, but understanding how to create them out of thin air. Watch here how a cerebral player like Kucherov takes note of the defender scanning to see his positioning. He's got no intentions of truly driving the net here, despite what his body language and route suggests. Once the D bites on the initial route, a quick cutback into the slot has him wide open. For Bedard, he's got this type of anticipation in his bag too, as we see against the Islanders. And once he makes this play down low and the Islanders collapse in front of the net, Bedard is going to manufacture that space in almost an identical fashion. The defender is going to take a peek to see where he is, and with his body language suggesting he's going to drive this area of the net, Bedard quickly cuts inside once the D takes the bait, and sure enough, he's left unmarked in the slot where that release can take over. Again, this puck is in his feet. His toes are pointed in the corner, but it doesn't matter because his upper body stays separate from his lower body. That top hand punches out, and he's able to instantly release an awkward puck for the game-winning goal. It's this same awareness that leads to his extended possessions and his playmaking prowess. Because of his lethal shot, Bedard always has it in his
Do
bag
hockey
to
players
be
lift weights?
threat. Knowing that he will either pull coverages toward him or have goalies square up to his pending release, he's damn good at leveraging that to find the open man. This pairs really well with his transition offense. Bedard, at just 19 years old and on the Blackhawks, is in the top percentile of players when it came to zone entries with possession. Yet Bedard isn't overly fast. In fact, this past season, he was quite slower compared to his rookie year based on speed burst per 60. Now, whether it's an injury thing or an adjustment in play style, we'll know more this upcoming season. But despite being a tad slower, it's how he leverages a variety of speed changes and button hooks off the rush to create opportunities for his teammates. Even if he comes in with a slower approach, he's thinking faster than most of his peers. Now, once he's established in the zone, Bedard has the vision to funnel pucks into high danger areas quickly because of how well he controls pucks off the wall. Again, only the elite playmakers of the world can consistently take bobble pucks off the dasher and turn it into magic. Bedard's skill set, creativity, and vision means that he's able to pull this off quite frequently. Now, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows with Bedard. There's a reason why the Bedard and Celebrini comparisons are being made right now.
Somebody told me to react to Celebrini.
Mature two-way game at just 18 years old.
I think I reacted to him already, though.
Context missing. Last year, the Blackhawks mostly played a hybrid defense. Hybrid is a mix of zone and man-on-man coverage. When the puck is down low, all 5 players drop into zone coverage, and when the puck is high, they flex out and coverage turns into a man-on-man. It's a system many successful teams, including the Panthers, use, but it requires a lot of communication and cohesion. So far, Bedard's defensive game isn't his strong suit.
I never know what he's talking about, but
is how can they limit Bedard's time?
I still find an interest in this because I don't know what he's talking about, if that makes sense.
The primary way is through double teams. As a younger and smaller build, these 2v1 matchups give Bedard an inherent advantage to strip his opponents when the puck is down low in zone coverage. However, when the puck is transitioned up high, there's a lot of switches and communications that's required when flexing to man-on-man. Even if you're second behind on picking up your check like Bedard is here, that's all the difference in giving up a quality chance against. And Bedard isn't a complete liability in his own end. His hockey IQ means he's got a knack for timing stick lifts and checks to break up plays without having to be overly physical. That being said, if one player misses their assignment or check, it leaves a guy wide open. Because the team as a whole can be a fire drill at times in their own end, creating any sort of breakout for rush offense is like pulling teeth. Whether it's mistimed passes or just getting swallowed by the pressure, the Hawks D go through long spouts where they get hemmed in their own end, and tired legs create all kinds of missed assignments. Combine some of these tactical miscues along with a young and inexperienced team.
He's losing me, y'all. I'm lost. That's why I'm just listening. I'm listening.
It's also incredibly hard to learn how to play defense when the structure is all over the place. Maybe that changes with the new coach, maybe it doesn't. Now, the other issue is face-offs. Connor Bedard ended the season with a tough 38.3% on the draw. Now, it's pretty standard for rookies to struggle in the face-off dot. Sidney Crosby went through the same thing early on in his career with a face-off percentage being in the 40s in his first 2 seasons. Face-offs are one of those skills that typically come with time. Most elite centermen only become dominant after years of refining their technique. Eventually, over time, you learn how to master the little tricks, how to time the drop, how to subtly cheat the system. Whatever it is, Bedard right now is still raw in that area. Even when he's on his strong side or taking draws on his backhand, veteran players can often overpower him and pull it back cleanly. It's a detail that has Bedard frequently starting the shift without the puck. The other glaring issue that is out of Bedard's control entirely is that he just needs more help. And between a mid-season coaching change and a carousel of different line combinations every other night, Bedard's sophomore season wasn't ideal. But he still led the team in points and was their best player at 19 years of age. However, is he still worthy of that generational title? Well, it's still too early to tell. When you look at the last 20 first overall picks and their points per game in the first 2 seasons, Bedard is near the top of the crop. His statistics don't match the generational talents of Crosby, McDavid, and Ovechkin, yet he's right there.
Connor McDavid is the top dog, for real.
Abysmal Blackhawks.
Sidney Crosby is the top dog, too.
Close to Matthews,
he's close.
McKinnon, it's still a win. However, the pressure and expectations will always be there no matter what. Are there aspects of Connor Bedard's game that need work? Absolutely. He's a 19-year-old center in the NHL. But from what we've seen so far, the numbers indicate that he's poised to become a superstar.
Look at the comments.
Now, whether he truly grows into the generational talent that ends up matching the production of his comparisons is something that remains to be seen.
I agree with whoever this is in the comments. They said he's still young, like, you know, why is he getting so much pressure on him? But for him to be almost up there with Connor Bedard and who else? He had some name. Alex, I can't pronounce his last name. It starts with an O. I know I'm familiar with some of these guys that I reacted to their highlights, but I know like Sidney Crosby and all them is like the top dogs. So he's in that conversation, it seems like, from the graph he showed. But other than that, bro, I be lost on what he be talking about. But the way he says and like the way he makes it sounds, the way he puts his videos together, yeah, it makes me want to react to it for sure though. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that though, man. About everything he said. Y'all feel like he's right to a certain extent, or y'all feel like, you know, it's certain things he said y'all don't necessarily agree with. Y'all feel like, you know, it's too much pressure on him this early in the game for him, or what? Y'all let me know, bro. Roll to 7K subscribers, and I'll see you on the next one. We out.